Martin, thanks for coming on. Welcome to the podcast. How are you, first of all?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, obviously busy couple of days since what happens over the weekend, and obviously I do the charity as a sideline. It's not my main income, so I've got like a full-time job in the sports industry. So yeah, doing that and having to cope with all what's going on with this it's been a busy few days.
Yeah, well, I can imagine, certainly on the social media. So just as we discuss the social media side of things then, I just want to talk about a couple of things you've put on Twitter. So tweets such as, in addition to those that says it smells of corruption, Liverpool played there less than a year ago and seems happy to do so. How do you mean by that?
So loads of people are having a go saying we went to the UAE, the Michael Oliver and down in England, and they shouldn't go there. They shouldn't take the UAE money because it's all corruption and they own Man City. And I just said, well, why did Liverpool go then? What's the difference?
Yeah, so I think on that side of things, I think it's just because it's so raw with what's gone on, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, Liverpool went there for the competition. And I think, obviously, you know more than I do in terms of all this corruption talk that people talk about. And it stinks a little bit because they've gone there 48 hours before the game.
Whether it's not an act in the game, no one would mention it, would they? That's what I'm saying. It was never the thing is, in hindsight, it was a bad move, wasn't it? You know, I'll say that now, but it's not corruption. It was ill thought out, without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely ill thought out. But it's just grasping at straws to say, because they've gone there, they've obviously been bought by the Man City owners and did this intentionally. That was it. That's what I meant by that. So saying, well, Liverpool went when they went out there. And funny enough, a mate of mine's the head of refereeing out there. I got a bit of stick because one of our trustees was head of refereeing out there. He's literally just finished. But Lee Probert, who's the ex-Premier League referee mate of mine, he's already out there. So people were saying, because one of our trustees works for them, that stinks as well. Just grasping at straws, isn't it? And being someone who's I don't live in Liverpool now, but born and bred in Liverpool, born and bred in Anfield. Most of my family still live there. It's just a bit embarrassing to dig and every opportunity they have to just accuse of corruption or every angle's dodgy. That's just a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Obviously, I don't go into the corruption side of things because that's just something that's well above my level. I don't believe it. I obviously know that certain referees support certain teams, but if they're going to give these decisions based on their team, then they wouldn't be in a job.
No, they wouldn't, and people don't know what goes into the accountability of it. They don't know. Like even from my time on it was a while back, and I worked at the FA. So it's the checks they do on you. Honest, I know. You can go back as far as you want and say, they've got. Look at Mike Dean. He said he's got 2 sons who's got season tickets. He hasn't got any sons. He's got horses. Do you know what I mean? So these little things happen that just keep going on, and people start believing them because they say it more often. Like with Mark Halsey, there's a thing going on about Mark Halsey now saying that he got told to give certain decisions or not give certain decisions. Totally being proven that that's untrue by Mark Halsey. And every time it goes on, Mark Halsey will say, I'm going to report this is completely untrue. But people keep using that as a reference to say it's corruption. It's corruption.
Do you think the Mike Dean things actually helped though? Because
obviously, I don't. Honest.
It's the refs and VAR are out in the spotlight at the moment, probably more so than they ever have been. Let's be honest. And then you've got Mike Dean coming out saying because it was his mate, he didn't want to have more pressure onto him. Surely that doesn't help.
I don't know what's worse, actually doing it or saying it, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It just give everyone an excuse to beat referees up now, doesn't it? Forever. So yeah. I just don't know. I'll be honest, I was livid with him over that. It was like I was livid with Jamie Gallagher when Bruno Fernandes pushed Adam Dunn in front of the cop. Jamie Gallagher said, I'm gonna blame the lino for that because the lino put his arm out to stop Fernandes getting that sense. So I went back at him and I said, and it says it publicly, it says on TalkSport, Adam Dunn was trying to stop a Man United player attacking a Liverpool player in front of the cop. Just imagine what would have gone off if he had a bit Trent in front of right in the corner flag. So that was a good move. So I'm not one of these people that just defends everything that people say about referees. It just gets a bit boring. That's always this corruption line. If you make a mistake, it's a corruption line. Has anyone thrown the corruption line at Matip for scoring our own goal? No one. But you see what I mean? That's how ridiculous it is. It's like they just get the fair you know, they get the fair breaks players. Oh, look, that's unlucky, but gutted. You know, Matip scores an own goal, which, no, I'll be honest, you know, as a Liverpool fan, I've gutted myself. But the all goes on that he must be corrupt. Aaron England must be corrupt because of this, but Matip isn't. That's all.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go into the obviously the game itself more so, but I just want to, obviously the recordings just came out and I've seen your tweet. The PGMOL should be applauded for the response. Do you not think it's purely down to my opinion on it is, do you not think it's purely down to the pressure they've been bowed down to that they've actually done that?
No, because and no, to be honest, and I think it's great. I've said for ages, and again, people don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and I like to think I've got a bit of an insight into some of these people, where I know the PGMOL want this to happen, live broadcast. I know Howard Webb's in favour of it, but people think we're not. You know, I think referees will come out much better. The game will be much better if it was streamed live. I've said it for ages, and Howard Webb was doing this in MLS, which is why I think they should be applauded, because now they're throwing always we haven't apologised. The PGMOL haven't apologised. Then they're saying, they shouldn't apologise. They've apologised too much. Before Howard Webb came on the scene, never had anyone apologise when Mike Riley was there. He streams it as what Mike Riley's is, and then he's releasing the VAR stuff. The battle for him to do that, honest to God, I'm not just blindly defending him. It's major to get through, because FIFA and IFAB, it's in their rules, they don't want it. So you got to do it like through a pilot, like you have with the body cams. But I definitely 100% believe that if they had their say on it now, that they would allow it to be streamed live. And I think when you listen to what's being sent out tonight, it's a shambles, isn't it? Yeah. It's absolute shambles. They probably had that shambolic because they probably thought it was never ever going to get broadcast, you know what I mean? And I think if they get a little bit, Hawkeye could be involved in it, all these different people that are involved in it. The main guy there had loads of experience with Hawkeye. You could hear the panic in his voice, couldn't you? Then, to me, all that there, if everyone knew that was going to be broadcast live, or at least, you know, maybe seconds later or something, whatever they do it, I think everyone will win on that one. And I think everyone will stop thinking that there's corruption behind it. Do you know what I mean? That's where to sit with it. That's definitely where to sit with it, I think. And they need applauding, because they've done, before the Liverpool thing, don't forget, they were doing the VAR thing. All right, they weren't picking like really contentious games, granted, but they were still doing it more than it's ever been done before in football. That's where they need applauding. Howard Webb going out, talking to clubs, really, you know, putting out there that they're apologising, and all apologies don't really bring points back. But all this has never been done before. So when you get the emotion out of it, you see that. You see what he's doing and his team's doing. That's worlds away from where we were 2 seasons ago. Absolute worlds away. Even a season ago.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Well, when I spoke to you before, when you can put a tweet out, and it can mean half of what you're actually trying to say.
Yeah,
so where you're just elaborated there on, you know, the things that are getting done now that have never been done before. That tweet that you sort of sent out looked half of what you're trying to say. It's like they should be clapping because they've released it. I've read that as a fan and thought they should be releasing it, but obviously the politics in the background are what we all don't see.
Yeah, and I think, mate, I think that's where it's typical from my side of it. You know what I mean? Looking at it from a football fan, I've played football, you know, right from a kid in Stanley Park in the Anfield Junior League, right up to playing in the old Shipping League in Liverpool, some very rough leagues. You just want the games to be the best it can it? And when you're sitting back and you're thinking, I know what I know, you presume everyone else knows it, you know what I mean? That's where I can be guilty of it. And then vice versa, you know, with the emotion of the game, do you really think I don't want an emotive game? Do you really think referees don't want an emotive game? When you're out there on the line or in the middle, you know, you do thrive off that. It keeps you going. But it's when it just goes that too far. It's just some of the stuff that goes out there, it's almost the default setting. It must be corrupt because we don't agree with it. It must be corrupt. And it isn't, there's no leeway given to referees or match officials like there is to players. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. No one, and I get stuck off Liverpool fans, I get stuck off Man United fans, I get accused, I'm only saying that because I'm a Liverpool fan. I get told I'm only saying that about Liverpool because I've worked for the FA or I've got a mate who used to work for the UAE. Do you know what I mean? It just step back a bit and just realise that I definitely I'm not one of these, like, you know, referees do everything right, the PGML do everything right, the FA don't do everything right. Someone was put on Twitter last night, I've actually got a non-disclosure agreement with the FA because it's under court. So I'm no big, massive fan of the FA. I think what's happened now, again, with the FA over the last 18 months, during the body cam trial, points deductions and the way they're trying to make the game better, when you look at it all holistically like that, they're all trying to do their bit. But the PFA aren't, the LMA aren't. It's their players who are causing referees trouble. It's their managers who are causing, trouble for referees and the game. But no, they don't say anything. So it's like everyone pointed at the FA and the PGMOL. They're really trying to do things, even though not everyone's going to agree with it, like what's happened today. But that's more than ever before. And because it was in such a bad state with communication and openness and no one answering, it's that was really bad. Remember what it was like then. Remember what I was Webb and No Limits trying to do now. It's a world away.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the game then. I'm going to start with a few decisions we just had news now about Curtis Jones, the sending off. Let's look at it from your point of view first.
Hang on. What happens over Curtis Jones? I don't know. I'll be nice. So we did. So the red card stood.
Good. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just give you my opinion from watching it as a fan. From what I've looked at it, and I've played the footy at a decent level, I wouldn't say I'm nowhere near the level that obviously wouldn't be sat here. It looks to me.
So what's a decent level? What do you call a decent level?
That's Southport and conference when they were in the conference.
Yeah.
So that level, not like a level where I'm going to fucking be a superstar type, but just so I understand that I've worked with, I'd say, more competitive refereeing, I'd say, and then you've got linesmen on the side of the pitch, which you don't have on a Sunday. You just
so your football was like a team of four. Or
you just have your mates with a flag type of thing.
Yeah, it's important.
So with my opinion on this is, he goes over the ball as he's trying to get control of the ball. Obviously, his foot drags across the ball. The follow through then obviously puts him in a position that he's going to be sent off regardless in my eyes. So I see it as I think it could be a sender off, and he could also get away with it. Now, the reason I think he could get away with it is because of playing football. As you've said, sometimes you can't control where your foot's going to end up.
Yeah.
It's very rash what he's done. And you can't argue with it being a sending off, and you can't argue that it shouldn't have been a sending off as well. So where do you stand with that?
I think it's a red card. I agree with it. Even at the time I tweeted, I had this feeling something had gone wrong. And I've said to people, I wanted to put in a tweet, that's step on one side. But I took it off the tweet and just said, I'm absolutely mystified by those lines being put up. But I also put in that same half-time tweet that Curtis's red was definitely a red. I think football wants them to be a red. And I don't think football wants us to slow down these still images. You can't have it both ways, can you? You can't have it what Carragher said. As Simon Hooper went over to the VAR screen, there's a still of that incident. That's wrong, I agree. That's wrong. I like to see what the protocol is on that. They sort of touched on it a bit, haven't they? Why they should go over there and play the whole incident in real time and see if it's a red. And then Simon's getting stiff because in real time he thought it was a yellow, which most fans would say that's what I was looking for. It's only when they slowed it down and did the still that it became the red. Let's be honest about it. So there's a story there somehow. But I think in real terms, football wants that to be red.
If you walk over to that screen then, as a referee, as Simon did, he walked over to that screen and that distilled images on the screen, the first thing you're thinking is, they're telling me it's a red.
Yeah. And I agree. I don't think that was right. I don't think that was right. I'll be honest, I'm not absolutely know everything about every policy, procedure and process in VAR or anything. I don't know. I don't think that's a good move. If that is the policy, that needs changing because that sets everyone's mindset involved in that decision making. Look, this is the end of it. What's the beginning of it?
I also kind of feel like they shouldn't really show the audience, let's say, on the screens that you can see the screen. I think it should just be between the referee. That's my opinion, anyway.
Well, I think that's Sky's problem. I think that's another protocol where, like, Sky, you would never seen that if it wasn't for Sky. Sky, the players got a camera there behind that VAR showing that. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it. Now, to me, why do they need to see that? That's just because they're going to cause trouble like that, aren't they? But in essence, it's the right thing because we've seen it and we think that's wrong, and I think football thinks that's wrong. But that's Sky, and it's Sky having that sort of view. The players got a camera there to zoom right in on what the referee's looking at VAR. I don't think that's a good move, no either. I really, really don't. And it'd be good to see that clarified.
Well, moving on to the Diaz one then, which has caused the whole controversy, let's say. It's a perfectly onside goal. And I think at the time, it was one of them when he blew up, I thought, he looked onside, but it was so close from obviously the speed that they play the football at, it can be just fine margins, can't it? He's put the ball in the back of the net, and I'm thinking, first of all, what a finish. And then when they brought it back and it showed you on the screen that he was onside, the first thing you're thinking is, get in, 1-0 ahead, happy days. The game on now. For it to then continue. Now, obviously, up until today and before, we haven't heard the recording, and now we understand what's actually happened. What are your thoughts on that? Because for me, and from people who I've spoke to about it since, it only sounds like the guy who's working in the actual room has a clue about it, the one that's shouting, stop, halt the game, stop the game. And he's not even an official.
I know. It's really bad, wasn't it? Really, really bad. It just adds to the. This is why I think they need applauding. Do you really think that the PGM well don't know that that's going to look really, really bad? Do you know what I mean? And I think that wouldn't have happened years ago. You know it. I know it. If that would have happened, they would have tried to do everything to not allow that to be released, said GDPR or whatever, wrongly. They do it now, and it's just a shambles, isn't it? An absolute shambles. And I think the pass from Salah was just as good as the finish, if I'm honest. Brilliant. But I thought, like, when you look at the lines, you know, the glass is cut right back before we had VAR. They used to do that on purpose, so as a line-up.
Yeah,
you do use that as a reference. Remember, they used to do them in cut the glass in circles. They knocked all that on the head to help lineouts make those decisions before there was VAR and stuff like that. So to me, terrible shame, terrible fuck up. Really, there's no other way of doing it. And I think it's just the learning from it, just stepping back from it. What can we learn? What can we do to stop this happening again? And I think I put a tweet out as well about it being a fail-safe, saying that they can't go anywhere if what they talk about is there live. That's it. So they're going to be a bit more considered, I believe. It's just my own opinion, a bit more considered, a bit more professional, a bit more thoughtful. Because didn't someone, I couldn't quite get it. Someone said something in the middle of it, as if they're having a laugh, didn't he? Which I didn't like that either. I don't know exactly what that was.
He said, you've got good eyes or something, and I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, do you know what I mean? I just thought, when that wouldn't happen, would it? If they knew that was going to go live, that sort of behaviour or sort of mindset to think I can mess around in that, you know, wouldn't happen. And when you don't forget, like comms is the headsets they all used before them, or 5 depending on how many there is with VAR and God knows what. If you do like an ordinary game, let's go below the Premier League, because you know the Premier League's like a small part of the game, innit? When they've all got headsets up, they are all talking. Some of them do have a crack. Some referees will go, I don't want to hear nothing from you. Do that headset as a line-out. I just want you to go offside. Don't want nothing. Some like say, keep me on the toes. And if you look at the way Simon Eber's doing, he's asking, he wants that two-way thing going on. Just keeps you on your toes and helps you your concentration. So I'm all for having that sort of positive discussion.
Yeah,
that was a really inappropriate. Whoever said what that was, I just didn't think that was. I just don't think that was good. But you know, whenever, like I said in the tweet about GLT, goal line technology, that messed up a Villa, isn't it? You don't know why. VAR's messed up. We're always going to have this human element in it. We must have it. I don't think football wants it to be completely automated. And we'll always make mistakes, like players and refs will always make mistakes. And that's where to sit with it. That's definitely where to sit with it. We've got to realise that. But it's such a big game, so much money on it. You know, look at that, the ramifications of Liverpool going sob. I get it. You know, I get it. I do get it. But sometimes it's just a bleeding mistake. It's not corruption. That's what it really winds up.
Listen, I agree with what you're saying in terms of the corruption thing. What I just don't agree with is the significant human error. And whilst you're saying it's human error, we're all human, we all make mistakes and stuff. Surely it takes someone to grab that situation by the scruff of the neck and say, do you know what? Stop the fucking game. Like, even if we heard that on the headset now, we'd all appreciate it and we'd go, you know what? Someone's actually grabbed it by the balls, but no one did.
I know, no one did. And I think it goes back to the old days. I'll be honest with you. David Ellery was running the show. Michael Harley's bit with they never had that flexibility or the personality. I think there's a lot of that. They're just terrified, and we will stick by law. That robotic sort of things where I know everyone's trying to get out the way. I think that's what it is. Fuck, it's law. It's law. We can't do anything else. Someone with balls going, hang on a minute. That's okay. Nothing happens. There hasn't been a card in between, or just stop the game and start again. Go over and explain. Almost like, you know, getting someone to walk through and score a goal because something went wrong earlier. Do you know what I mean?
How do you think they come back from this? So, your honest opinion on this? It's a big, massive fuck up. Let's be honest, and it's brought everything into the spotlight from all sorts of officiating, from VAR to referee to linesman to fourth official to everything you can name. it's just brought it all back up and it's just vomited it out into the public.
Yeah. But I think that's good. I think that's good because let's just learn from it. What would be horrible to do is this happen and we just keep making the same mistakes. But then what happens is you get people being over forensic. Like last night, Chelsea about saying that's a big karate chop on the defender's back. You know, everyone's going. It's going to go the other way. Anything whenever Everton analysed, then they complain, "Oh, it's taking too long," but they want to get it right. Because I think that's a little bit of this, you know. I think they'll think, oh, quick, and you can hear the urgency in the voice, can't you? Come on, give it to me. Was the kicker? Was this? Was that? Because football wants it to be quicker, don't they? Yeah. So it isn't just, it's not a binary thing, is it? There's lots in it, and I just think football. It's going to be hard for Liverpool fans to accept it, but I just think football's got to realise. Let's just learn from it. And these people, rightly or wrongly, even when Gary Bezic, when Jurgen Klopp was wiping Gary Bezic's face, you know, he's terrible, giving Anthony Taylor loads and all that. These what people say. These are world-class match officials. You might not think it, because what's happened with like the Salah incident with the Man City was made Jurgen, you know, kick off.
Yeah,
they just it's such a high emotive game, and you're there. You don't think those linos and refs don't go through the emotional journey that the fans does. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and it's hard. It's definitely hard. You're very close at Anfield to the crowd behind you. There's a lino. You've only got up the line to go. You can't run on the pitch and get away. You know, it's this sort of like lack of awareness that it's a hard job. You know, honestly, I'm not trying to justify anything. It's dead hard though. They are some of the best in the world. You're looking at Anthony Taylor. Look what happened to Christian Eriksen. Loads of all over the world. What happened to Christian Eriksen? Weeks later, getting absolutely battered. Do you know what I mean? And then he goes back, he does nothing wrong, or the lino does nothing wrong. He doesn't get anything. I put a tweet out saying, well, that's funny. I think he just allowed a goal. It's Gary Bezic, the one that Jurgen was having a go at. Can't remember who it was, and Liverpool gained from it. No one says a word, because that's what he's supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of balance that, you know, if you're going to give them loads and loads of stick, then praise the stuff when they do it really well. And that's what I'm trying to get at. And look, I know it's hard. I shouted at telly to me that when I'm watching Liverpool and that, and it's just, we've got to accept that's the game. We can't accept errors like this, 100%, and there's other errors, big errors. But, you know, just slamming them and sacking them. Who'd be going to get in there instead of Alex Webber, people like that? Well, this has to be a World Cup final. And then people just judge him on that one tackle. But it was De Jong, wasn't it? On Alonso. One of them, he put his foot in the set. Alonso, wasn't it, Zabi? His whole career's been judged on that. Do you know what I mean? Clattenburg gets battered by Palace fans because he never plays in advances in the FA Cup final. Yeah. Evertonians hate him because of what happens in the Liverpool derby with the pens and that. You know, they're always going to pick out these little tiny things and go, he's shite because of that. And I think with this, well, what did you want him to do? You know,
so I just want to talk. Let me talk about this game then. So obviously, for me, the VAR thing is a big absolute disgrace, and it's a big mess anyway. You know that. Yeah. I know that. Everyone knows that. But listen, I'm not going to pin it all on the ref. The game was crazy, and it's probably one of them games you'll never see again. But there were so many decisions which I can't understand the let's say corruption. Let's say people just coming out with the corruption side of things. But there were so many decisions where you had to question, and I just thought all over the pitch it was just a big fuck up for me. That was just my opinion as a fan.
See, I agree and I don't agree. Let's talk about Jota.
Well, this is what I want to. This is what I wanted to get to.
Making a tackle like that, irrespective of the first card was a dodgy one or not. Park that. Just park it. What's he doing? Making a tackle like that, and then you hear him say, "I didn't touch him." Slides, just lying.
The second booking was, for me, you put everything on Jota there at that point, regardless if he's being a little shoved, pull back, regardless, it's a fucking stupid move and he should know better. The first one, I still can't get my head around it being a booking.
Well, do you know what I reckon that is? And I'm only guessing because I watched the game back and looked at it. You got a bollocking early, isn't he, for too many tackles? And if you looked at the angle where Simon was, it does look like he touches him, doesn't he? Whether it's like insensitive or whatever. And I just think that was him just going, fuck, he's not listening to me. I'm going to give him a yellow. Trying to bring the temperature to the games. I think there's more. I think it's that. It'd be great to know. No, what I love to hear them say, see the reports. What did he get booked for? Do you know what I mean? On that one, particularly when it's a double yellow and it's the first one.
So what about the player who went down, who was already on a yellow card, asking for a yellow card?
Well, mate, listen, if you go back and do your own work on me, I said at the beginning of the season, we've got to cut that out. Yeah, we've got to cut that out. And then early on, there 2 sent off. Bobby Meady did one in the Championship, didn't he? Someone else did one. And they all went mad. Is that really doing that? Is that really worth sending off? So I agree. I agree, but I think also, I think he missed it. I'm not being honest. Let's almost justify everything he's done. I don't think he clocked that he went like that. If he did, that would be in the second yellow, so he would have gone. I don't think anyone really would have argued with that, because people have been done for that. I just don't think he saw it. But then, to me, that's what I think VAR should come in on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And like the corner, it was definitely a corner, so they couldn't give a goal kick or vice versa. I can't remember. They're the sort of decisions that I think VAR would really benefit the game. To say, look, hang on, just before you start, he's just made that gesture. That's a yellow card, get him off. By the way, that's not a corner, that's a goal kick. Yeah. That's where I think VAR could be used to stop. But you're there as a referee. It's honest. That's what you're seeing it from a camera angle or a different camera angle. You're not seeing it from where the ref was. And that's why, if you look at his position, he's in the centre circle a little bit, and Jota is just coming out the centre circle. There's contact, whether it's intentional or not. But I think this is what I like to see, the release of what the first booking was for. I reckon he's done it from persistence, because he bollocked him early, isn't he?
So
I genuinely think that's what it is.
Well, if we're talking about persistency then on the Jota one, what did you make of the Salah one? Because first of all, I didn't think it was a foul, and then the booking just comes out at him because Salah's like,
I know.
Can you not speak?
I think it was cheap, and it was similar to what happened in the Man City game when he didn't give it, didn't he? On Jürgen Wittmad and Gary Bezic, on the touchline. It was actually a similar position, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a similar position to what happened with Bezic in the Man City when Salah got through over his shoulders, didn't he? And I think it does touch his face, but I just think in that sense of the game, I just think he's called that wrong. I do think he's called that wrong, because
it kind of feels like now where there's a fine line of referees now. So Salah has clearly reacted as if to say, well, where's the foul?
Yeah.
And he's just happily got that book out straight away. Now, are we at a point now where we can't actually speak to referees?
See, again, I think that's a cheap shot. I think it isn't what isn't speak to referees. That's what they do. They over-emotionise it and under-emotionise it. It's what you say and how you say it. To me,
yeah. Of course.
Said before, I'm all for it. Listen, when you're there on it, might you hear what's getting on. You hear some of the things referees say back to players. Don't forget it. I think it's the PFA who don't want these headsets released live. I think you'll find it's not the PGMOL, because it's not. I think it's going to be the players who you think he should send off for that. He's just called him whatever he's called. Do you know what I mean? But they let that go on because they said manage the event. And really, do you really want to address those technical offences, or do you want to protect players for the bad tackles? Do you know what I mean? Well, always look, he's called me a twat, I'm going to send him off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot more to it than just that. And I just think, benefits of talking to refs and players positively, that's definitely the way to go. But when you're ranting and raving, some referees will say, look, be quiet, have a go at me quietly, but don't throw your hands at me and call me a twat from miles away, wherever we can hear it. You're going to undermine me. So there's nuances involved in that. But a lot of referees have conversations when you're running, and there's loads of instances which you are doing it, which will be accepted because you're not undermining them. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a huge conversation there about that, 100%. And I just think, another thing, when you see Salah and see how he behaves, to see him so wound up as a referee, I'd probably think, oh, but what have I missed there? He's really wound up there. But he doesn't react like that, does he?
He's not that type of player, is he?
No, he's not. No,
that's what made me think, well, what's the booking? What's he actually saying?
No, I agree. I agree with that. And I was shocked thinking, that's not like Salah. Do you know what I mean? But when you're in that absolute emotional pit, was that booking was after the goal was disallowed, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was, wasn't it? It was, wasn't it? Yeah. So and then obviously the Jota one was as well. So let's just throw into the pot. We've just heard that VAR conversation. Simon Hooper knows he's just made a massive fuck up.
Yeah.
What was in his head? No wonder he's made these sort of perceived errors. Do you know what I mean? No wonder. And if you look at it subjectively and think, well, he's done really well there, considering he knows he's just made a monumental, or the team of the match officials and VAR. Do you know what I mean? Look at it that way. Look what was in his head, and yet he still made a lot less balls up than other refs without that pressure. Do you know what I mean? Let's just sit back from it a bit and go, well, you know what? Fair play to you, lads. Fair play to you, because you had a lot going on, but you're still, I know it's hard to wear. I still think he has an all right game. You know, it was VAR or whatever.
Well, the first half is when obviously Diaz's chance goes in and all his decisions are given. Do you think at half time he's being pulled, or do you think they've had this discussion and thought, shit?
Mate, do you really think after what's being released, do you really think they never discussed that again on the mics? Do you really think there wasn't similar conversations associated with it? Of course there would have been. Geeing him up, keeping him going, do you know what I mean? Keeping his concentration. But that hasn't been recognised. I hope it does get recognised by the journalist or somebody to say, just imagine what must have been going through his head in that game when he knows he's fucked up or they've made a massive, massive mistake. But he still carries on. He still didn't look too uncontrolled, does he? Some really good advantages. There were some things where he never played advantage and he did play advantage, particularly when he was out to 9 men. But like when you look at it, just take that out and add that in and go, fair play, how did you cope with that? It's hard enough on its own without knowing you've got to do a whole half and a bit more of a game, knowing that you've just made probably one of the bigger fuck-ups in the Premier League game ever. So when you take that into the pot, how well did he do? Let's just be honest about that.
Mm. Okay, so obviously let's move away a little bit from the game, but obviously the same thing. Let's take this from you as a person and take your referee's hat off for this one. Obviously, a lot of people now are coming out and saying Liverpool should move on, forget about it, don't do this, don't do that, don't be requesting all the what we've heard tonight. Do you think it's a good thing for the game or a bad thing for the game that we've heard what's come out?
I think it's brilliant for the game. I think that what happens next is really important for the future of the game. What Liverpool do and what the Premier League do, the PGMO do, what IFAB do, what FIFA do. There's massive, massive possibilities here that could change the game for better. And I just hope that they keep Liverpool and the rest of the Premier League engaged. Interesting, in that statement, they've said they talked to all Premier League clubs, haven't they? That's been released to all Premier League clubs as well, I said, didn't it? I think that's a positive move. And I think recognise how hectic the game is from a match official's point of view without a massive balls up like that. Recognise that and just say, hang on a minute, that is dead art as we're watching it on telly at home or in the grounds or whatever. And I think Liverpool's next move, will set a precedent, won't it? Let's be just dead honest about it. Whether they take them as good, say replay the game, it's like what happened in America when I was just doing it over there. But precedents are always there to be set, aren't they? So if they do it and say it gets replayed, then that's the default setting forever, isn't it? All right, we can go back and say, well, what about that one against Wolves, Man United? What about that? Well, this part that if you want to make the game better, then if that's what you're going to do, then that's what you're always going to do.
Yeah. So
what I mean, I think it's really important what Liverpool do next. And
the press have come out, haven't they? The press are coming out and basically saying Liverpool want them to replay it. I haven't seen that from anyone, and I haven't heard it from.
Let's get it from Liverpool first.
So let's take that replay situation out of it. I think what we want as fans, and I think what Liverpool want as a club, without knowing anything what's going on, is just transparency and what is actually going on and what caused them to make that mad decision at the time. Because obviously everyone's going, fucking hell, how the fuck's this happened? Or I can't believe they've done that, corruption this, corruption that. Yeah. But we just want to know what brought them to come with this conclusion of that not being a goal. Now we know. I don't really know the next step. In my opinion, the replay in the game just needs to be forgot about. That's just something I don't want to see. Because, you're down to 10 minutes at this point already. It's 0-0. Then what? What if you get beat? And then you just look like a gang of fools.
I know. It's imagine if they beat Liverpool 4-0. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's going to be the laughing stock forever. And I just think I think that's going to be in their thought processes. But I understand why he would want to replays and all the other sorts of suggestions. But let's hear what Liverpool say as a club, because I think the right to say all options are on the table.
Yeah.
What they want. I agree with that. I think it must be equally. It should be like that with the FA and the PGMOL. And do you know what I mean by being applauded? They've put FIFA. I was webbing and they put FIFA in a difficult position here, and I think that's great. I think it's great. I think they've gone, well, yeah, look, we've showed you what's gone wrong. Yeah. What are you going to try to do as lawmakers of the world of football to help us stopping this happening again? What are you going to do? Because everyone throws it at Howard's Webb. Everyone throws it at them and says, "Oh, it's them, sack him." His hands are tied by football law. And if he goes, just think of the other arguments. If he goes the other way, and then someone else comes in and says, "Well, actually, that's affected us because you made Liverpool replay the game or whatever." There's all those legal ramifications. rather than just a binary Liverpool play, Liverpool don't play that he plays. You know what I mean? So he'll be aware of that. All the lawyers in the PGM, well, in the Premier League, top lawyers, they're going to be aware of that as well. So it's this. When you take Liverpool out of it, put the whole football problem in it. It's a massive, massive problem, isn't it? For the whole game across the world, everywhere.
Yes. Well, I've just got one last thing before I've got a couple of people who've asked questions that I just want to get constructive answers, basically, from you. I've mentioned it before in what we spoke about, but where does it go from here? Like, you know, I don't want to see every single thing getting released just because a certain decision's been a fuck up. But obviously, things like this would have caused so much noise. That's not even around the UK, but around Europe and the world, probably, because there's so many Liverpool fans. Where do they go?
I know. I think I just can't see any other answer than allowing. And this is not our web's decision. This is FIFA's decision on IFAB. Let it all be done live, like it is in rugby. Let it all be done live. Just let it all be done live. Let everyone know that what happens. And I think a lot of people, you know, would have more empathy for what position the referee is in, you know, and the linos in it. You know, if I take when I was refereeing, you can take 2 guests to the game. When you take 2 guests to the who got no emotional involvement in the game, 9 times out of 10 they say, "So what the referee got everything right there." But when you're emotionally engaged in it, as a Liverpool fan, Everton fan, whatever, you have this emotion where you're up here and every throw in, every little, you're giving us nothing, all that comes into play, doesn't it? When you just step back from it, you watch games on your side a lot of the times, they get most decisions right.
Yeah.
And because there's so many cameras, when I was on the list, there was only like 4 cameras. The live Sky game had like 4 cameras. You know, you never had goal line technology. You know, you never had headsets. You know, you had buzzer flags. The year later they brought headsets in. But the way the game changes, do we really want it to be that sterile? Don't want to stop and start. We just want the integrity of the games to be in place. And we just don't want this to happen again. And I just think open. He said it all the time, and I want to draw the curtain back on what we do. I think this is the beginning of that, and hopefully it'll speed along the process. So like that. So what would you like to happen? What do you think fans want to happen with regards to refereeing? Apart from just saying, just get it right, because you're never
going to get every decision right. Listen,
no. What would you want? What do you want?
Personally, as a fan, obviously you want transparency, which we've just now got. And I think I just want that on the big things. So the big things that can affect the game. These little yellow card ones, the Jota one, we all know the first one probably wasn't a Buchan. You've mentioned there, he's had a little go with the ref a few times. He's had a couple of bad tackles or a couple of tackles, and he should have been. He was flirting with a Buchan, let's say. We've all played, no matter what level of football you've played at. If you wind the ref up, or if you do a few niggly fouls, he's going to be the first one that gets the book out, and if you do something. So I'd just like to see the big decisions brought out the way they have, just to see what's actually happened, first of all. And the little decisions, we just allow the game to go. The little decisions like the minor booking. Okay, if he's fucked up and he hasn't booked someone and then he's turned out to he's got another booking in the game, we can all say, fucking hell, should have booked him the first time. But the thing is, the refs won't see everything. And if VAR are not going to help them going forward in these little decisions, the refs are going to get the shit all the time, aren't they? Let's be honest.
I know. No, I agree. And again, they've said, haven't they? They've said we don't want to re-referee the game. But I think that's right. But we want to re-referee the game more than we are now. I think that's where we are. Like those incidents with, like, you know, you're having a corner given instead of a goal kick, and the corner it comes over and it gets scored. What do you do then? You lose the game 1-0 and it should have been a goal kick. Yeah. You know, it's those sorts of dodgy things where even as a referee, you think that's a dodgy corner. I'm going to find a foul here. You know, you see it all the time, don't you? You know, I'm just going to give a dodgy. You can't do that now because VAR's there going. Do you know what I mean? So, like, rightly or wrongly, I'm just being dead honest and open. And most people know in the game, if there's a dodgy corner, the ball comes in, there's going to be a free kick to the defence. All those things have gone off the game, haven't they? And I think, so let's do something else as a fail-safe. The referee would do that, wouldn't he? Let's look at that. Was that definitely a corner? Was that defo a corner? Well, sound it was. If it wasn't, it's a goal kick. How simple is that? Equally with cautions, some of those, and I think every second caution, because don't forget, another rule that needs to change, that you can't appeal the second caution. You've got 2 dodgy yellows, and none of them can be appealed or looked at. That's bad, isn't it, really, for the game? I think VAR should look at that as well. Is that? But cautions are so subjective, and then you say, what are you cautioning for? That's not really a yellow card, that foul. We say, well, look, he's had to go with me 4 times, and that's his 3rd foul, so that's why I'm doing them. So the VAR isn't in there hearing all that, is he? Being in there and doing all that. So there's a lot more to it, do you know what I mean? But I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. A lot more than I think I am. But it's then what I know happens that gets reflected in all the grassroots stuff we deal with. Where you see kids at the age of 9 scoring a goal and kissing the wedding ring. Do you know what I mean? They've only seen that on telly. But they're copying all these, cutting the calves, socks, holes in the calves. They've seen it on telly. So when they see the bad behaviour, they mimic it. So there's a massive piece on it. But just keeping on the subject matter of if controlling that game and the way that game went, just bear in mind, just step back. I say this to everyone, Liverpool fans. What do you reckon was going through his head for nearly what, an hour? That he'd made that probably one of the biggest fuck-ups ever in football. But he still never really lost control of the game. Let's be dead honest about it. He might have made dodgy things that he didn't agree with. Didn't lose control of the game. Referees have had worse halves than him when nothing's happened. Do you know what I mean? So let's give him a little bit of credit there for his emotional intelligence and how well, with everything going on, how they coped with that game. That needs recognising as much as the big mistake does.
So just I said that was the last one before, but that just brought something up to my attention there. With the referees then and the VAR, right? If the VAR decisions or whoever's doing VAR makes a mistake, they get a slap on the wrist, a week off. I don't know if it's full paid. I'm not really asked. That's not my politics to deal with. But is that helping anything by giving them a week off and then reintroducing them the week after?
I think that's what football wants, don't they? They want them to be accountable. What else can you do? It's like a red card. You get 3, one game for one offence, serious foul play or violent conduct. You get 3 games. I think that the referees that should happen if you make a big mistake like that. Then I think you should be. I don't think sure punish is the right word, but you should be some form of accountability. That and a lot more goes on than you think. It does happen.
We get told this ref's off. Let's say Saturday because he just made a big fuck up. It's cost Liverpool 3 points. It's cost us going top of the league type of thing. We see that as, well, what's that? He's got a week off and he's back in again. It means fuck all.
Yeah, but
does anything further happen?
I just said that again. So it means fuck all when Matip scores the own goal. Yeah. Why do we not address that? Because we just see that, that's an honest mistake. But that's fine. Do you know what I mean? And I say that's what we got to change, mate. Yeah. And you want to throw the referee line or VAR under the bus. We need more than this. But Matip wasn't worried. Do you know what I mean? It's that recognition now.
This is why I'm asking these questions, because obviously you see the amount of people that put these questions out there. So what we want to know as a football fan, more than me, and obviously you're a football fan, is obviously it's embarrassing for the referee and the VAR, whoever it is that has to sit this week out. But do they take any more accountability for this? Let's say, because I'm going to say one thing that I see all the time, right? If I fuck up in my job, this is what I see. If I fuck up in my job, I face disciplinary for it. I don't get told, go home and then come back in the next day. So is there more to it? Or is
let's go back a bit. So what's a fuck up?
Let's just say the VAR situation. On the referee
your job.
In my job, I work in IT. So, let's say I fucking deleted something and deleted someone off the system and, got us in big shit, or I cut a server out of something along them lines. I'd face a discipline probably.
Yeah, they probably look into it and say what went wrong. You wouldn't just say, right, I'm going to, get paid for TZs or you. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't happen unless you do something really bad like gross misconduct. Yeah. So I never ever buy that argument. Same with you've got to be a little bit lenient with missing a penalty, with scoring an own goal like that, with Joe Matip must be absolutely just as good as that in England. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, that's all right. That's all right, Joe. You're still going to play next week, no matter what. That's okay, mate. But when a referee makes a mistake, they've got to be battered. Yeah. It's that thing that needs to change. They don't do it on purpose. You know what I mean? Yeah, big fuck up. Yeah, what can we do about it? Yeah, how are we going to fix it? But have that reality where, no one's missing a Joe Matip in this. Rightly so. Because it's a meaning.
So do you think people separate them? So let's say, because footballers are footballers and referees are referees, are you saying and are you thinking that because they're a referee, they mean fuck all compared to footballers?
Yeah, we're just fair game. You just got to look at the tweets that happen. Always that being fair game? You get Lineker taking the piss. Lee Mason, when he blew the whistle twice, didn't he scored a goal, he said he shouldn't have blown it twice. They spent like 5 minutes discussing it. In the same game, can't remember what player it was, a couple of seasons ago, wasn't it? Same player missed 2 penalties and he got beat 1-0. Yeah. But no one said anything about that. They just concentrated on Lee Mason blowing his whistle twice. Yeah. For the fuck up. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of desensitization that goes right through football and refereeing. it's happened. But if someone misses 2 penalties, they get beat. I remember getting some stick off Chelsea fans because when he plays us and the goalkeeper messed up big times, and I said, you're going to get a petition out to get him not play again because Chelsea fans got a petition up, didn't he? They went, Matt, you can't say that. You're the Chelsea. You can't do that. Well, hang on a minute. You got a petition up because Anthony Taylor don't have him there again. But your goalkeeper cost you the game, balloons up with the bar, but you don't get a petition with him, do you? And they went mad, they got death threats and all that. But I just do that devil's advocate because most charities do that. You know, you look at some of the things other charities do, shots at it of all the things, you know, they do. But I get reported a tragedy mission, or some people think they should, because I have pop back. To me, that's how bad football is. It's the entitlement of it. That we can actually say whatever you want about a referee and linos, but don't you dare take the piss back about players. To me, so it's just that recognize. Although I get it, I absolutely get the emotion behind it. Then people say, "Oh, because I've paid, I can say this purely because I've paid." Does that mean because if you haven't paid, you can't say anything? Do you know what I mean? There's lots wrong with the game, and I just think this is a really massive step forward. Unfortunately, Liverpool suffered from it. Yeah. I think, and I just hope that we all just recognise it, fans, refs, that's a positive move. They need applauding for what they've done. They could have sat there like normally happens, cover it up, stick it in the corner. That definitely would have happened to David Early was it about. I don't think it would have happened to Michael Ali about. Probably stick me out on that. So recognise that bit. Recognise, all right, the mistakes shouldn't happen, but he's apologising. Which for years he never even apologised. Now he apologises. That's not good enough. Now they release like VAR conversations before what happens at Liverpool. It's good, but you're only picking certain games. Now this happens, and they're saying, well, we want an apology or we want something else. Yeah. I just think stepping back from it. I know it's hard to do. I'm not even thinking it's not hard to do, but just step back a bit, you know, and think about what they were going through as match officials for nearly an hour. If one of the most monumental fuck-ups in football, still never lost control of the game, no matter what anyone says. They might have made mistakes. No big mass brawls or nothing, was there? You know, there was dodgy yellows and stuff like that. So recognise that bit, and also recognise that don't miss this opportunity to recognise it's a massive, massive mistake. That there must be massive, massive changes to make the game better for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So just the last couple of the questions from people who have been listening then, or from people who have posted beforehand. Do you think this, since the technologies came in, the standard of refereeing has dropped?
No, I just think that there's more ways of finding out they've done something wrong.
So if people say referees are either too scared, so they'll rely on VAR, or they make a lazy decision, which, by the way, this isn't just from people who listen to podcasts or watch football. This is from people that you see on Sky Sports and BT Sport that'll say, you know, referees are getting lazy with decisions. They'll rely on VAR. What do you think on that?
I think that was true in the beginning. Yeah. I also think the way like in the World Cup, they do things differently, don't they? Then they come back to a domestic league and it's done differently. I think having that approach where I didn't see anyone giving it loads in the last World Cup about VAR, did we? Then we start the Premier League. It starts off really, really well, doesn't it? And then this happens again. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the bit to learn from. But yeah, I think it got proven in tennis with the umpires in tennis that they weren't developing a gut instinct because they were relying on VAR. And I think it's really important that the referees at all level, and there's a fan too, it doesn't feel right, does it? If it doesn't feel right, it normally isn't right. Yeah. And I think having VAR and headcoms and buzzer flags and all the stuff that I think that can stem the development of a gut instinct with a referee. So yeah, I don't need the worst. I just think that VAR is now really exposing everything. Sky's exposing everything. That you know, mistakes shouldn't be made, granted, but they get exposed so under a massive magnifying glass that they probably look worse than they are. Do you know what I mean? And then you add all the consequences on of what's happening in football and the money involved and Champions League and all that. And I get it, but I genuinely think that they're not as bad as you were saying they are, but I think we need the wider pool of referees to tip from because the abuse is so bad. We're not having it. So there's no
one wants to do that, do they? Let's be honest. You know, no one wants to stand there getting shit.
But you know what? I've said it before. Everyone's happy to have a go at a referee, but no one's happy to have a go at refereeing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the problem. As the pool's coming through, there's less and less to pick from. Because there's less and less to pick from, you might rush people through, reduce show developments. Like Stuart Atwell, don't forget, he's back on. He got kicked off, didn't he, after that Reading game? Was it with the ball with the side of the goal? Remember the ghost goal? He's come back up. He's saved his time. He's come back up again. You know, really, if you're going to kick someone off like that, where was the talent to overtake him to come back? Do you know what I mean? But you can't blame that on the PGMOL, because the PGMOL develop them at pro level. They take, I don't know if you know this, they take control of match officials at National League level, National League North and South and above. Prior to that, the FA's got the responsibility for finding the next talents. They got a thing called CORE, Centre of Referees Excellence, where they're bringing identified, referees younger to come through. There's all things like you've got to be on FIFA by the age of 36, and you've got to done 2 years in the Premier League before you get FIFA. So they're all rushing them through to be like 27, 28 when they're getting on the Premier League, which might be too quick. So there's all those problems in there. So I think, listen, there's definitely been loads of mistakes. Loads of bad ones, loads of ones that I don't think should happen. But I just think when you know what a referee's got to do to get there, and the fitness levels they got to do, and the dedications to the role, I just think, like players, I just think they're often in bad form. That's what I mean. I really do. I think the talent's there, and the talent is there.
Just while you touched on that, then, who are the PGMOL? Who do they speak to, or let's say who holds them accountable?
Do you mean who holds them accountable?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's unique, and it's a dead interesting question, because the PGMOL as a body is very rare in football. I think there might be only one similar body, because the FIFA statutes state that the national governing body of that country should govern your top flight game, so the FA should govern it. But when the Premier League was created, similar to what the PFA did, when the PFA just boxed it off and said that's where they're minted, the PFA. We're not going to agree to the Premier League because we want 5% of the TV money. Now that's billions in it. So I think it was Screws and Wolf said, well, actually, if this is going to go so big, we need to have our own group of referees. And they created the PGMOL with the first people there, with LRE, all those sorts of ones that were there. And then a couple of years later, then they had to go professional. So the PGMOL, again, people won't understand it, but it's sort of a quango, really. The standpoint might be a fair description, but the main up the Football League, the Premier League, the FA, and the Premier, do you know what I mean? They're all there. The old badge used to have all those badges there. So in essence, they're not accountable to anyone. But I don't think
that's interesting.
I don't. Yeah, it is interesting. I don't think that's the problem, because I believe they have brought the game forward. The stuff they do, honest to God, and interesting what I said earlier about they look after referees down to the National League. The FA used to do that, but because the FA went to a good enough job, they said, well, look, the talent's coming through isn't the best. We want to get hold of them earlier, professionalise them a bit more earlier, increase the support they get, the dedication to a fitness regime earlier, down to, I keep calling it conference level, National League level. So when you go for the FA's only got new referees, and then up to level 4, so like the Tool Station Western League level, Unibond League up your way, whatever that is. That's where it stops. So I think I think that's one of the problems. But they got so much money from the Premier League that they're allowed to do the stuff they do. I don't think it's fair. Like, who were Liverpool accountable to?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you look at when you step back from it, that's not the problem, because having no accountability can actually be good in a sense that you can do what you feel is best for the game, which I think that's what they've done. And I think, just imagine having to go through the FA board and the FA council to say, oh, we're going to release this recording. Do you remember? Imagine the palaver that would have been. It wouldn't have been released now.
Weeks, months.
It would have been absolute weeks. By then, he would have said, I'll be re-recorded it. Do you know what I mean?
The league's over.
Back to it now, having no accountability in regards to that, as long as you've got your integrity and other people are looking at it, it's like the DCMS will probably look at it and stuff like that. So you've got to, have that accountability. But it's I think it's not being accountable. Being accountable to yourself can have its pluses and its minuses. I think in this scenario here, I think it's helped because they've gone, fuck it, we're going to release it. We're going to release it, which is like, it's unusual in incidents like this.
Well, you've touched on a few things, and I was going to ask you about what you thought on them being mic'd up, similar to the rugby, the NFL, and things, which you've said you're all for. Which I'm the same. I think if you can hear the transparency in the conversations, you actually understand what's going on instead of looking at someone that says.
Well, you do know that's happened. That's been like that for years. You know that, don't you? Well, the lineouts. So there's like a SD card up with downloads or whatever, because they do that for their own training purposes. Because let's be honest, I've said before, the body cams. Some referees at all levels might say things to players that wind them up, and they get a response. So having these recordings is good for the match official, for their own training aids, as well as like clocking behaviour and evidence, other stuff. And I actually think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they monetised that at one point, like they do in rugby. Or if you pay an extra $5, you can listen to the match officials during the game. I don't think we're that far away from that. And I think that would be better.
I'd like to see that. I just,
because
rugby and football is different, and people say footballers haven't got the respect for referees the way rugby players have got the respect for the referees in their game. Now, do you think the reason for that is because we can hear everything what actually goes on in a rugby game?
No, I think it's culture. I think the way they're brought up in rugby, they're brought up to respect the match officials differently. I think another problem that doesn't people don't really talk about is in rugby you don't get paid as a ref to quite a high level. But as a referee, you take the course of 14, you charge them 30 quid. You're doing 2 games on a Saturday morning, 2 games Saturday afternoon, 2 games Sunday, 2 games Sunday afternoon. You know, some of these kids can earn a few bob over the weekends. And then they, like we said earlier, because you're paid, you think no one else is on the pitch is getting paid but you. So I expect you to do better. I think that's part of the problem as well. But I just think it's the way the culture in rugby is brought up that I think that's it. And it's expected, isn't it? People just seem to expect I can have a go at it. They think nothing, absolutely nothing, of having a go at a 14-year-old girl. You know, this week I've been dealing with other cases where there's a 14-year-old girl referee who's autistic, who was getting threatened and abused and videos because she had a response to what was happening at the tick or whatever. They all started laughing at her, calling her a cow, grown men. You know, that's the shit we need to change in football. That's sort of bollocks. That goes up and up and up, and they see it at the top. With the Mourinhos, with the Peps, with obviously Jürgen. It's calmed down a lot, if I'm being honest, since the Gary Bezic thing, which is a positive. You know what I mean? It's all reflected back, and I just think we all need to take. PFA definitely needs to up the game because they never say nothing about players acting like knobheads on the pitch. Never say anything. Same with LMA. The LMA never say that's out of order. That but Pep's just done or Jürgen's just done or whoever. Never happens, and I just think all that in the game. I think we all just want to make it better where we're not just taking out on a referee for an error, and we don't do it to. Don't get me wrong. I know you're there. You see players racial abuse. Look what's happened in the same game. Liverpool Tottenham. Totally out of order, bang out of order. So I mean, players get just as bad as abuse as anyone else. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying about that is any excuse to have a go at a referee, anything, and that's part of the problem. I think that's the part of the problem we need to change. Okay. And I just think it's good that he's done what he's done.
Well, last question then. Do you think
we will? You said that, you know. 4 times you said last question.
It's tough. The questions I'm getting asked, you're getting them asked.
I thought this was recorded. Didn't even know this was going up live.
This is a final one then. When should we expect to, or will we expect to see the semi-automated offside come into football? I mean, I don't know how far you know about this, but we've seen it in the World Cup and it was massively successful. Will that eliminate instances what we've seen on Saturday?
Yeah, I do. Well, you got to talk to the clubs because the clubs don't want it.
Right. Okay.
That's the club thing. That's
why would they not want that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's also that they don't want these conversations. I think I'm pretty sure that's out there. I haven't got any insight to it, but when I get told from the people I know were in the game, I think that's the reason. I think the club said no to it. Automated offside. Have a look at it. I'm pretty sure it is.
It's daft, isn't it? Because you said you know
why would the referee not want it? Why would the referee in linos not want it to make the job easier?
Yeah.
Why would he not want it?
Yeah.
And then what does a lino do? Just do subs. Goal line technology stopping them doing that. Do you know what I mean? Well, you know, just throw in the subs, and then what do we do? Oh, let's do the goal line on subs. We don't need linos. Stick the ref on their own. I mean, where's the game going?
We don't know. That's the problem. All right, Martin. Well, thanks for your time today, mate. I appreciate you coming on and obviously answering some of them questions that people won't have a clue about. Let's be honest. People won't know what the answers are. We don't know what the answers are going forward, but hopefully we get a bit of transparency in the game.
That's all right. I go on loads of podcasts. Rangers, Celtic. I've done loads of them. I'll always do them. And it's just like, as long as you step back, I've got to step back from it emotionally. And I think a lot of people have. And if they realise that, honestly, just stop this lark where don't throw the Barcelona stuff out, they're all corrupt and all that, because they're not all corrupt. Some really, really top match officials that we've got who do make mistakes, they could perform better. But the top dedicated match officials who have dedicated a big chunk of their life to referee games in front of millions of people, getting the abuse that they get. And I think that needs recognised. And it definitely needs recognised that how Simon Hooper kept himself together. And it's the linos, when they knew they had one of the biggest fuck-ups in football, but they still carried on and never lost control of that game. You've seen more referees lose control of games, less going on than he did. And I think he needs applauded to that. That's what I meant by the statements.
That's fair enough. Spot on. All right. Well, thanks very much for your time and good luck.
Yeah, likewise.
Catch you soon.
See you. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.